Cash envelopes are a super popular way to keep organized with your finances. I myself used to use cash envelopes when I was paying off $35,000 in student loan debt. But I have to tell you that I graduated into the digital age and I don't use cash envelopes anymore. I'm going to give you the pros and cons of using cash envelopes in this video, when you should probably be using them, and when it's time to let them go. Stick around. Hey, what's up guys? It's Justine with Debt Free Millennials, the channel to help you crush your debt and live payment free. If you are new here, we talk about how to live payment free, budgeting, investing, and more. So be sure to scroll down, hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. So cash envelopes, right? This is a very popular method among the Dave Ramsey crew. But it is a way that you can be intentional and actually feel your money again, especially if you've had issues with credit card debt and just swiping because it's so convenient. Cash envelopes makes it a lot easier to keep track of your monthly budget. So one of the first benefits of cash envelopes is that it keeps you from overspending. So you'll make envelopes for different categories, pull money out of the bank, and then go ahead and divvy up that cash amongst your cash envelopes. And then whenever you go to spend from that particular category, you're only spending the cash that's inside of that envelope. Now it also keeps you from using a credit card. So when you pull all of your cards out of your wallet and you're only putting those cash envelopes inside of your wallet, it just keeps you from reaching for the plastic. And if you're really diligent, like what I did in the past, is I would just take that cash envelope with me to the grocery store, and I could only spend from the food envelope. If I went overboard on my grocery bill, if the cashier told me I had an $80 bill but I only had $60, then I'm putting things back. That's how diligent I was with cash envelopes, and it really did help me see exactly where my money was going. Another thing that I did that I think is a pro for using the cash envelope system is that any money that you have left over in the envelope, like let's say you have $10 left over in your restaurant budget, that money can be rolled over into the next month. So let's say you have a $100 restaurant budget per month, you have $10 left over from the previous month, then you can roll that over plus your regular $100 monthly budget. Now you have $110 to spend in restaurants. Alternatively, you could use that leftover money and pay down your debt. Now, the only thing with this, and this will now transition into the cons list, is that you have to go to the bank regularly to withdraw cash. In order to use the cash envelope system, you have to go and get that money. Now, it's not enough to go to an ATM, because if you're anything like me, a lot of times my budget categories include tens and fives, sometimes ones. And so I would have to actually go into a physical branch, and I would take a little post-it note and like write down, I need 15 ones, like 20 tens, 25s, and I would write that down and tell the teller to count that out for me. So that is a big pain. I actually was watching Marissa Lida's video on why she doesn't use cash envelopes anymore, and that was the thing she mentioned, that it's a chore. And I'm like, yes, it so is a chore. And especially with bank hours these days and us being, basically still here at home and not really going out much, it's just a big hassle. Another con about this system is you end up with a lot of change. Not just dollars, but like physical coins. And so then you end up putting those coins into a jar or piggy bank, and then you've got to go back in and dump all that change. And it's like that change could do much better rather than like accruing in a jar at home. You could have that change inside of a savings account and earning a little bit of interest. And I think also too, with it being such a digital age, I literally have access to debit and credit cards using my phone. I don't even have to reach into my wallet anymore. I can just pay with my phone most of the time. that it just is so much easier and convenient to use digital currency instead of cash. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to my personal journey with money and using cash envelopes is that using cash envelopes in the beginning helped me become intentional, purposeful, and also feel the emotional attachment I have to money. It feels a lot different when you hand over a $20 bill for a 6-pack of craft beer versus swiping a credit card. If you've ever tried that, if you tried just paying cash for something that you normally swipe a credit card for, like think about this. If you go to Costco or the grocery store where you can often get a bill way over $100, try paying for that in cash next time and see how there might be a difference. Let me know if you've tried this in the comments below. Is there a difference when you pay for something like a Costco trip with cash versus a credit card? Now, I never had a problem with credit cards when I was paying off my debt. All of my debt were student loans. So I didn't really need to go through the exercise with cash envelopes to help me with responsibly using a credit card. I actually used it to be intentional and so that I could use it as a way to fuel my desire and motivation to pay off my student loans as quickly as possible. Because let's face it, you can also swipe a debit card just as easily, and that's what I primarily did in college. And right after college is I would swipe things with a debit card and not really have a sense of where my money was going. So I think cash envelopes can be really helpful in that sense, and that's how I used them when I was paying off debt. Okay, so let's talk about when you should be using cash envelopes. I think they have a purpose in your life if you are consistently over budget every single month and over budget in specific categories. So this could be a problem area like shopping, clothing, restaurants, going out, any of those things where you feel like you are consistently over budget, then I would introduce a cash envelope. In fact, that's exactly what I did with restaurants when I was first doing this. And this little envelope here is actually a printable that you can get inside of my How to Control Your Spending workbook, which is for sale using the link below. And I find that these are really helpful to have on hand if you are over budget consistently. Another reason why you might want to consider cash envelopes is if you do have credit card debt. Credit card debt is an indicator that you aren't having a good grasp on your finances and where money is going. You also don't have a good grasp on the concept that money is finite. There is an end to money, and with credit cards, it can feel limitless. So cash envelopes help you understand that there are limitations on your budget. And I'm not saying that you can't spend in those areas. You can absolutely spend on what you love, but also keeping in mind that there are boundaries for your money. Along with being over budget consistently is also you may not have an understanding of how much you spend in certain categories. You may not know how much you spend on Amazon every month. And so having cash envelopes, or in that case, if you were doing purchases on Amazon, then I would consider getting a prepaid Visa card if it's really a problem, really an issue, and tracking that consistently with a spending tracker. But if you don't know how much you're spending on going out to the bars every single weekend, I think a cash envelope would really help you get in tune with how much you're spending. And lastly, you might be considering a cash envelope system if you're feeling disconnected from your bank account, other than when it's payday you feel connected, or if there's a connection to checking your bank account when there's fear or anxiety that you don't have enough. If you feel like that's your tendency, is either when it's payday or when you are looking at it operating out of fear, this is a good time to start using cash envelopes. Okay, so what are some signals when you know it's time to get rid of the cash envelopes? First things first, if you are consistently budgeting every single month and you know pretty much how much you spend in each budget category, then I think it's time that you can let go of the cash envelopes. Also, if you can use credit cards responsibly, that means using your credit card and paying it off every single month back to a zero balance. If you can do that responsibly, then you can let go of the cash envelopes. You also just feel more connected to your money. You have a pulse on what you are spending on in certain categories. And the last thing that would be a good signal that you can let go of the cash envelopes is that you are debt-free. If you're debt-free, then you have proven that you are so on lock with your financial situation and with your everyday spending that you can let go of the cash envelopes. However, there are some times that you may still feel like you want to keep them around even after all those signals. You may find that keeping a cash envelope around for gifts or Christmas might be really fun for you to visually continue to track your progress. One reason why I still keep cash envelopes around is I actually use them as receipt envelopes. So I actually have a whole video on this if you want to watch that. I will link to that up in this card. But what I like to do instead is I like to keep receipts for certain budget categories. So this one is for groceries, this one is for eating out, and this one is for shopping and miscellaneous purchases that make me feel good. And so when I see that there are receipts inside of an envelope, it's a physical reminder to tell me that I have spent money in this category for the month. And so I need to check my budget to see where exactly I'm at. If there's a lot of receipts in one envelope, then that's an indicator that I need to check in or slow down and say, all right, I'm probably pretty close to hitting my budget for this budget category for the month. Now, all of these different envelope printables are available inside of my How to Control Your Spending workbook. I'll link to that below if you want to check that out. But let me know, have you ditched the cash envelope system or are you still rocking it? Comment below if you liked this one. Make sure you smash that like button and I will catch you in the next video.